Reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Happy Hearthstone podcast, the longest running Hearthstone podcast in the history of time and space and cards and animals. I'm your host, Josh Augustine, and this week I'm joined by Outlandish Justin.
Hello. I feel like your intro needs some echo to it or something. It's so epic.
I know. It does. Maybe like some explosions going on in the background. Yeah, we could really spice this up. Maybe I'll see what I can do in post, maybe. If you
you're not already doing enough.
Yeah. If you could maybe explode some things on your end and send that audio to me, then I could use it. I don't really have a lot of things that my wife would be okay with me exploding in my house.
I got that old microwave that's ticking me off, maybe.
Perfect. Yeah. You weren't using it anyways. So, alright, Justin is here. He is awesome. If you guys remember, actually, has Matt been on this show?
Yes, he was on one
Yes, he was on. He was on our first one that went over 2 hours. Well done, Matt.
Of course he was.
Yeah. So, Justin is co-host of Outlandish Podcast with Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Two awesome guys that we've only hung out once, but we had a grand time.
Yeah, and we first podcasted, you and I, back on the PC Gamer podcast. Almost 5 years ago. It was like in 2009, I think.
Yeah, crazy. We're kind of best friends, I think it's safe to say, Justin.
Yeah. If you can have multiple best friends, we are absolutely best friends.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm not going to say you can't have multiple best friends, because a real best friend wouldn't say that.
That's true.
So, alright, so Justin, you're awesome, but why are you here? What, have you been playing Hearthstone? Just kind of give people a kind of quick sample.
I have been playing Hearthstone. You might call me the new money of Hearthstone because I didn't jump into it until beta went free for everybody. I was I'm not much of a early access type person because I like playing complete awesome games. But once they went open and I read a couple of things about it, I realized that this is effectively as good as it's certainly playable in a very fun way without too many issues. So I jumped in. I guess that was about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
And as for card games in general, I started playing Magic back in '98 and played extensively through about 2003, and then on and off I've played since then, mostly limited format.
Okay, limited format is your thing, so that's like closer to Arena.
Right, very much like Arena, because I really like Sealed, where you're just given a bunch of cards and make the best you can with these.
Okay, awesome. And then, what about inside Hearthstone? Is Arena, is that what you're liking the most? What kind of hero are you enjoying?
That's pretty much what I'm leaning towards. Yeah.
Okay.
I really like Druid. I feel like it has. It's rare for a class to have more than one AOE spell. And Druid, because it has that duality of like cat and bear, it has options, and a Switchblade deck is awesome. Usually, some of the best Magic decks have had options like that, and so I really like a lot of the option cards.
Yeah, you feel like you have like 45 cards in your deck because you can you can pick and choose what you want each time you play it.
Particularly the 2/4 guy that jumps out and deals 2 damage or silences a guy.
Oh yeah,
That's
Keeper of the Grove.
Incredible.
Oh my gosh, I mean, every time Druid is an option when I'm doing Arena, at least now, I'm always taking Druid because of exactly those cards and like swipe. It's just it's so good. All right, so before we get into our topic, which is going to be related to what we're just talking about here, let's talk about why we're happy, because it's the Happy Hearthstone.
Yeah.
I'm going to go first, Justin, and I'm taking 2 reasons today, because I'm extra happy. I know. It's the Happy Hearthstone.
Spoilers will be equal then.
Yeah. Oh, how intriguing. Maybe I can do 3. I must be happy.
It's just it just ended up for an hour talking about things we're happy about. I got a lot, man. The Godzilla trailer came out this week.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah, my life is way better than yours. You don't even understand. All right, so first, I had my very first turn 1 rage quit victory in Arena this week. It was the weirdest thing, because Arena, you don't normally get people quitting ever, because there's always a chance, right?
Yeah, especially with the early game. I mean, things can look dire, and then it can turn around.
So I can't remember. I was probably playing Druid. I was playing against a warrior. And I played Young Priestess, which is the 2/1 that comes out at the end of turn and gives someone else +1 health. And I didn't play another minion, so it didn't get to do its thing at the end of the turn.
Right.
He plays a Mad Bomber. 2 of them hit me, and 1 of them hits him, but none kill the young priestess, and he immediately quit. Like, I just don't understand that, because, like, that's not even that bad of RNG, right?
No,
that's
it's not.
better luck. Like,
you gotta imagine that guy, like, I imagine the scenario, the untold story where he's had, like, he's on his last loss. He's had 2 in a row where he's played as Mad Bomber, and it's only hit him in the face 3 times. So this was, like, the final straw, and he's just over there just Tasmanian devil style.
Yeah, as he's playing is like, Mad Bomber, I'm giving you 1 more chance, but if you even touch me once, we're done. And yeah, man, but it felt so good. It was like, I think I was like 2-1 at that point or something, and so it put me over to like 3-1. Like, I'm already got a good record. I'm feeling good about life. It was great.
Yeah,
so that's the first reason I'm happy. I'm gonna make you go next, Justin. I want to hear one of yours.
Well, since I didn't know if I needed a Hearthstone thing or if I could do real life thing, I brought one of each. And man. I guess the thing that's making me happy is this week is it's looking like I'll be seeing you in a couple months.
Yeah.
If things go well.
I'm excited about that.
You and Matt talked out going to check something out over there, and it was a good reason to come to San Diego. I've actually got a few friends there now, and I've never been, so
yeah,
we're gonna road trip.
People don't think we're doing drugs or something, because that sounded super shady. I think because you didn't want to say cryptozoic.
Right, I suddenly had like in my eyes, I was like, and then I felt stupid after I avoided it.
Yeah, so Cryptozoic makes the other digital card game Hex, and we're gonna go swing by their offices and kind of see them, and because the other podcast that we do is a Hex podcast. But it's okay. We know other card games exist. We love both of them. But yeah, just so people don't think you're coming out here so we can like plot a murder or something.
Well,
like,
it is San
we're coming
Diego.
out there to do stuff.
We'll drop down to Mexico, and do some stuff.
Yeah, Tijuana. Yeah, don't worry about it, listeners. Don't worry about it. We'll be good. So,
I've always wanted
really
to do the
about that too.
Road trip across that area of the country, so I'm actually looking forward to that.
Are you going to stop at like the Grand Canyon and stuff?
Probably. I don't know how far off Monument Valley is, but it'd be nice to drive through that.
Yeah,
if you can drive.
That would be cool. Come on, I mean the drive's going to be long anyways. You can tack on like 45 minutes or an hour. It's not going to feel that much long.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we definitely plan on stopping a couple places.
Awesome. All right, my second reason why I'm happy is also the reason why my voice sounds husky today. I was in a Hearthstone tournament last night, like a real, honest Hearthstone tournament with prizes and everything.
Wow, in real life?
In real life, yeah, it's really cool. So the Elite Lounge is this really cool place in LA. It's run by Jace Hall, who, if you don't know him, he does awesome videos. He is coder. He worked on a bunch of early games as well. And Monolith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he basically helped found Monolith way back. And I didn't know this. Monolith is crazy old.
So if I got that right, we can thank him for Shogo?
I would have to look that up to know for sure. But he was probably at least indirectly involved. He may have been completely involved.
Okay.
But yeah, so he runs, it's a really cool idea. He set up this crazy like internet cafe kind of place, but it's in their office. And it has an arcade cabinet. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. They say, and it's not literally true, but it's pretty darn close. It has every game ever made.
What?
Yeah, so it's running like PCs, and it has all the consoles inside of the cabinet. And so the screen starts, and the right side is a list of every console ever made, like all the way back to Commodore 64, Atari, all that stuff, and all of the publishers of arcade games.
Wow.
And you just go through and select. And so, like, I went to Sega Genesis because immediately I was like, I haven't played Primal Rage in like 15 years. And
you've got to play the Genesis version because that's the one you remember, right?
Yeah, because that's the one I played against my brother like every day for 2 years. And so, because all I remembered was there was an ape that could grab you and fart on you, and it would do like heavy damage. And I was like, I got to do this move. I got to do it. But it's just like, I just opened Sega Genesis, and the list is like hundreds of games you're scrolling through. Like, it was amazing. They had like Puzzle Bobble. I got introduced to Zookeeper.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if you know that. Okay, it was like a late 80s arcade game. I'd never played it in the arcade, but you're basically running around in a square trying to keep animals trapped inside, but they get out and you have to jump over them, and there's a monkey throwing coconuts. It's super crazy, but it's super skill-based. It's incredible skill-based, and so they have a running thing at the Elite Lounge where everyone's trying to get the high score, and Jace, if anyone beats it, Jace just like constantly plays the machine until he gets the high score again.
I love the idea of this thing, just like the ultimate god game machine. I hope it's painted gold or something.
Yeah, it is painted. It's like a super crisp white, but all the buttons like glow different colors. So when you play a game, the buttons will glow different colors based on what buttons you can use in that game.
That's ingenious.
Yeah, right. And actually, you can, if you go to eliteloungelive.com, you can actually see it because they bring celebrities in. It's pretty cool. Celebrities come in all the time that want to kind of get hooked in with the geek culture and learn about video games and stuff. They bring them there and like introduce them on the cabinet, and they're always playing games. It's pretty fun. But anyways, long story short, they hosted a Hearthstone tournament this weekend, and I was just going to go there and shoutcast it, basically announce it and kind of talk about the plays as people are doing it.
Right.
But one of the people, because of the horrible weather in Southern California, that actually shut down freeways in LA because it was raining. About that. Yeah, it was not fun. One of the guys couldn't make it, and so they needed an 8th person. And since I was there, I jumped in and I did it. And I used Dan's Beastmaster deck, which has been absolutely dominant on the show,
Yeah, the vaunted
right?
Beastmaster deck.
Yeah, because I thought, because I'm more into Arena. I don't have all the legendary cards. And so my constructed decks aren't awesome. But I knew Dan's deck has been great. So I was like, all right, I'm going to steal Dan. I'm going to give him all the credit when I win. And I go there, and I went 0-2. It was so painful. And one of them, I got to say, one of them was not entirely my fault. But one of them, I made misplays. It was only slightly embarrassing. One of my friends, who knows nothing about games, but he likes Twitch, he likes tech stuff, so he knew I was going to be on, so he watched it. And after the match, I got tons of text messages from him, just like repeating whatever the shoutcasters were saying about what I did wrong.
Oh no!
Where it's like,
no.
You could have not in a mean way, but he was joking. He's like, you could have played the buzzard. You could have played the buzzard. And it's like, why didn't I play the buzzard? I could have won.
Stage right.
It was, and it was so bad. So people that are Hearthstone, you guys will understand. There was one key moment in the game where early on, I had a bunch of weak minions on the board because I'm rushing, and I was playing a hunter, and they played a secret. And immediately I was like, okay, it's explosive trap. Like, I can't swing. If I swing, everything's going to die. So I was like, I'll just wait till he plays minions, trade them, and then proc the explosive trap.
Right.
And I delayed like 4 turns, and I totally lost momentum. And then finally, I was like, okay, I just got to go. Like, this is just killing me. So I go with my big dude. It's okay. I finally buffed it up. He's going to survive the explosive trap. It's a freezing trap. And it goes back into my hand. And it's just like, oh no. Wow. I just wasted like 6 turns in a row.
You got played by secrets.
I know, because you just immediately think with hunters, it's explosive trap.
That's smart.
Especially if they're like a rush deck or something. But yeah. But I didn't feel too bad because that deck ended up winning the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
So that's okay. It was a great hunter deck. It was a really weird like control hunter deck.
Huh.
And it was interesting, and it kind of made me think more about the meta, right? Because there's so much power in being unexpected.
Yeah.
Where like he was playing freezing trap, but most hunters would have played explosive trap, and most hunters, he wasn't even running the starving buzzard unleash the hounds combo.
Oh wow.
And it's like, you're looking for those tricks, but you're not looking for the King Crush trick that he drops down on turn 9, and you're just like, what? And so it's an 8-8 or 9-9. I can't even remember, because that's like the only time I've seen that card play.
I'm pretty sure he's a 9-9.
Yeah, 9-9 with haste. Oh, what? Charge, thank you.
Yeah.
With charge, right to the face, and it's like, well, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Like, wow. So, but I learned a lot. It was really fun. It was a really fun tournament, even though I went 0-2. Really great guys. And the guy that won, the prize for first place was they'd buy you the $50 40 pack.
Oh, okay.
In the game. So you got 40 packs of cards in the games. He got Nat Pagel and what is his name? Tech Engineer Ming. What's the dude that creates the 1/1 squirrel or the 5/5?
Oh, what you mumbled is closer to what I come up with.
Mech Engineer. Anyways, so the reason why my voice is husky is because that tournament went super late. I got home at 4, and then I got up at 6. And so I basically have not slept since Friday morning.
I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, so it's been a long day, but it was totally worth it. It's an awesome tournament. I'm going to put a link to the Elite Lounge Live's videos on Twitch, so you can watch the tournament if you want to. It's really cool because they actually have an awesome setup. They have 8 different cameras on Twitch that you can swap between anytime you want. So you can see like, okay, here's what's going on inside the LAN cafe, and then switch to the other camera. This is the rest of the players sitting there commentating on the game, or you can switch to this camera and see them playing here, and or switch to this camera and see their on-game stuff. It's a pretty cool setup. So I'll link to all that on our show notes so you can check it out.
Yeah, and that's definitely the advantage of having an online streaming service like that.
Oh yeah, that is incredible.
Those.
Yeah, because it's funny trying to watch like Magic Pros, and it's like they basically just have a hanging camera above the desk,
right.
and it's not quite the same thing. So, all right, I've commandeered all the time, Justin. What's your second reason for being happy?
My Hearthstone thing that you would have seen if you follow the official Hearthstone Twitter account, but there's a video that a guy put on YouTube. He calls it Hearthstone Logic Number 1. So I'm hoping he's going to make multiples of these, and this one's called Weapons, and it's basically the cutscene. I don't know the lore specifics of this one, but where Arthas shows up at the chapel in Eastern Plaguelands and confronts Fordring, and they're all spouting off epic things, and right in the middle of Arthas saying something epic, an acidic ooze drops down out of nowhere and spits at Frostmourne and destroys it.
Yes.
And he falls over crumpled, and then Fordring's like, "Attack!" and he doesn't even get it out before the spit destroys his weapon.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the cutscene from the end of the Death Knight leveling area.
Yes.
That's incredible. Yeah, I was watching it. That totally caught me totally off guard when the acidic ooze drops down. The 2 most powerful weapons in the entirety of Warcraft lore just gone.
It's true too. No legendary weapon can stand up to an acidic swamp ooze.
Even I love it. Or Harrison Jones. He'll steal it and turn it into cards like a magic trick.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the reason we're happy. Let's get into our show, because I think it's going to be a long, awesome show. Mm-hmm. Not too long. Just the right amount, one might say. All right. So, obviously...
That's what she said. Sorry.
It had to be done. Thank you. We all love playing Hearthstone, but we don't always love paying money to play Hearthstone. Mm-hmm. It's great to support it, when you're enjoying it, but we can't constantly be paying money. And I think this game is actually really generous in how it's giving out the free gold to people. But it does kind of take a while to start generating that gold and start adding cards with packs. And just on a side note, I've been playing daily for over a month, and I have yet to spend cash. Or is this your note?
That's my note.
Yeah, it's like, wait a second, that's not true. I've been playing for way more than a month.
I got Josh to read the teleprompter.
Yeah, man, my brain is just dead. I apologize.
No, yeah, that was a little bit I threw in there just to point out that how easy it is to play, and that's multiple arena runs, and it's
So how many packs do you think you've gotten through arena this way?
I guess probably at least 30.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I mean,
that's incredible.
At least, and then you get all the gold, and you get disenchanting materials that you can turn into other cards. So you can really just grind arena out. Once you start to get good at it, and you don't really need to spend unless you get eager for legendaries.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome. And I think a lot of people like you, Justin, were really waiting for open beta to jump in because there's all this. I mean, no one really wants to be very few people want to be a beta tester. They just want to play the good stuff.
Right.
So this week we're kicking off a new series for the show where we build or try to build the very best decks that you can for every class using only the cards you get for free by leveling the heroes or the ones they give to you free at the very beginning. So we're
longest
building the best.
Ever.
Yes. Yeah, we're just trying to build the best free decks, and these are not decks that are going to, win you legendary in the ladder, but these are decks to get you started and kind of a good foundation to build on.
Yeah, just something to, and if nothing else, to let new people know what are what cards to avoid. Although we won't go into them, but you should be able to pick up on it.
Yeah, because the basic decks that they give you are okay, but they force all of the spells in there when some of them you just don't want.
Yeah.
And some of their neutral minion picks are just really weird.
It's like they drenched it so much in the flavor of the class that there's no taste for for quality.
Yeah, that is a very good way to put it. So, real fast, just kind of quick rundown of how free cards work. Each of the 9 heroes starts with a tiny deck that have some basic cards in it. and then you unlock more of those cards as you level up. They're fine starter decks for beating the AI, but like we said, they aren't efficient. But the interesting thing is, if you unlock like a free minion in the mage deck or something, it could be really bad, say, for the mage, but it could be awesome in the hunter deck.
Exactly.
And so there's a lot of kind of switching that we're going to do. So we aren't adding a ton of new cards, but just by moving cards around, you get a lot of value out of it. Yeah, let's see. As soon as you start the game, just a quick rundown. If you want to build these decks for new players, you get a big pool of neutral minions for free. If you go into the game, if you want to see, even if you've unlocked cards, what the free cards are, if you search, or if you apply the basic set filter, that's going to show you all the free cards, all the cards that we're using today. So if you want to make suggestions to kind of help other people out, refine our decks, look in the basic set.
It's all the cards without a gem.
Oh, there you go. That's a great way. That's an even better way to explain it. I didn't know that.
At least if you're digging through the spellbook itself, because of course the end game spellbook, it's pretty, but it's not maybe the best representation.
Yeah. So if you want to build a new one, go into your collections. That's on the bottom of the main menu. There's gonna be a button on the bottom right that says Add New Deck or New Deck, and then click it. Do fun. We'll have links also to all the free Priest Druid cards, all the free Druid cards. Did I say Priest Druid cards?
You did say Priest Druid cards.
I did.
It's okay.
And all the free neutral minions. So we'll provide links to all that in the show notes too if you don't want to filter it out in the game. The one thing to look out for if you're going on that list that you'll find in the show notes is it's on Hearthstone, which also includes tokens, which are cards that aren't actually cards. So stuff like the Shaman totems will show up in there. Like, you can't really put that in your deck, so just keep that in mind as you're going through. We're going to do Priest first, because honestly, Priest has been my favorite class for a while. It's not the most powerful, but it's the most fun.
I'm also a fan of Priest because I usually like to play a slower game. I'm not a fan of the rush games, and this is a very control-y, healy kind of deck that's fun once you get the engine going.
Yeah, that's a good. I like the engine analogy. It feels like that because you're putting the pieces in place, and once it all kind of comes together, ooh, it feels good. All right, so the best free Priest deck. Let's jump into it. I'll introduce a card, and Justin, maybe you can kind of say your thoughts on it. Say if you like it.
Okay.
Actually, let's alternate cards. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. So the strategy for the Priest deck, just your goal is to keep your board full with healthy minions, like minions with a lot of health, that you can kill the enemy army while using your hero power, which is healing, to heal them, to make sure that your minions stay on the board while you're trading. Later on, then, you manipulate your creature's larger health pools into big damage, courtesy of a few spell tricks. Does that seem like a pretty fair goal with this deck?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Definitely with the focusing on the healing of the minions more than you would in any other deck.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so first up, time out healing with minions. You can't have a Priest heal deck without Northshire Cleric. This is the 1-mana 1/3. Every time a minion is healed, draw a card. It's such a good card because it's going to bait out removal, and if it doesn't bait out removal, you're going to win the game.
Yeah, so. Like this goes into pretty much any Druid or Priest deck. Maybe there's some wacky Priest deck that's going to win a tournament coming up without it, but I can't imagine it. It's interesting. It's part of a semi-cycle of creatures that are 1/1 or 1/3 for 1, which is actually like fairly powerful in and of itself. So like it's like the card is designed to be overpowered, like they're hitting you over the head with use this card, so use this card.
Yeah, it felt like they gave almost every class one of those cards that's like, here's what your class should be about. Play this card.
Yeah, for the mage it's the 1/3 that gets plus attack.
Every time you do a spell. Yeah. The warlock gets the 1/3 with taunt. Hey, you're gonna rush. This will protect you from getting rushed in return. Perfect.
Bang bang.
All right, what's your next one, or what's the next one?
The next one you have here is Power Word Shield. Now, this is the +2 to the health.
Yep.
And it cantrips. So it only costs 1, and I love this card because I love cantrips. And it's a cheap cantrip with definite help in your deck because you want to have minions with big health.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing we've said in the show a couple times is any card that replaces itself like automatically has value. And especially something that's this cheap. I mean, the question I always like asking people about this card is, and I'll ask you, Justin, would you play a card that was just 1 mana, draw a card?
No.
No? Okay.
Because
I'm like 50%.
Oh yeah. And my thought process there is you're just changing a card. Instead of having drawn the card that you would draw with it, you're now spending a mana to draw the card.
You do make your deck a little smaller, though. It gets you closer to the good cards.
It's true.
But yeah, so yeah, and the +2 health is actually deceptively powerful, I think.
Yes.
It's surprising how many times, because the enemy isn't expecting it. They're thinking, okay, if I play this minion, they'll trade with me. That's fine. I'll want to trade. And you play this, and suddenly you aren't trading. You're just killing their guy.
Yep. And it helps you keep your Northshire Cleric alive when you want her to be.
Yeah. All right, Shadow Word Pain, and I'll just take the next two because these next two come as a pair. Or two of these, Shadow Word Pain and Shadow Word Death. This is like 30% of the reason why I like playing Priest. These two spells are so efficient.
Yeah.
So one of them is pay 2 mana, destroy a minion with 3 or less attack. Just flat out destroy. And there's not a lot of just flat out destroy in Hearthstone.
That's
like
true.
the Rogue has it, but they're paying 6 mana for it. You're paying 2 for it here. Big Game Hunter, but they have to have more than 7, which is high.
Right.
Shadow Word Death, pay 3 mana, destroy a minion with an attack of 5 or more. That's just huge beast that you're nuking down for 3 mana.
For 3 mana, yeah. There's not many other removal spells on that power level in the game, and most of it's not uncommon in Hearthstone to get into a situation where he's got any number of combination going on where he's buffed this guy up to like 9/9, and all of a sudden you need an answer, and for 3 mana you have an answer.
Yeah, and with plenty of mana to play your own big giant.
Exactly.
That turn. Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome. The one thing about that combo is you'll notice that the attack value of 4 is conveniently left out of both cards.
Yeah.
And there are moments where you're cursing yourself because it's like a Chillwind Yeti, and it's like right there, and you're just like, are you kidding me? Or they'll have like a 2/2 or something that's like a big deal, and then they'll buff it up to like a 4/2, and you're like, no way, are you kidding me? Like, come on. Yeah. But yeah, those are 2 great cards. I love them. I should note real fast, all these cards we're mentioning for our deck, and we'll have the full deck list on GameDiplomat.com too. You should just go there if you want to build it. But all these cards we're doing, we're putting 2 in, unless we explicitly say that it won't be 2 of them.
Right.
All right. What's up next, Justin?
Well, you do have Novice Engineer here. There's not much to say about Novice Engineer. It's just you get a body and you cycle a card. Sometimes that's what you need on turn 2 to get your card advantage going.
Yeah, and there's going to be a couple of these that are in pretty much all of our sets. Stuff like Novice Engineer. We'll get Chillwind Yeti is going to be coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Those are cards that, because it's hard to make a perfect deck with just these free cards, and there's a lot of cards like Novice Engineer that you put in every single deck, you could put in every single deck, and it would be valuable. Because it's not trying to do a specific strategy, it's not trying to do a specific, synergy, it's just a good card.
Right.
So you're going to see stuff like that in a couple of these decks. So if you're ever trying to build a deck, even if it's not this deck, and you can't like find a couple of cards, like if you're building a Hunter deck, and you can't find any more beasts, something like a Novice Engineer is just something good to throw in there because it's just going to help.
Yeah.
Alright. Novice Engineer, awesome. Ironfur Grizzly is another one. This is a 3/3 taunt. It's just a solid card, right?
Right. Falls into the same category. It's just a good little. It's kind of funny to me because it's like a good all-around card, and it reminds me of the Bears, quote unquote, from Magic. That was just like the basic 2/2, and this guy is just like a basic same health, same attack, gets in front of something.
I always wondered if they were referencing Magic with that, because Magic Bears are always 2/2s, and this is a 3/3, like, oh, our Bear's even better than Magic's.
It's funny you say that, because I kind of wish, there's the 2/2 for that taunts, the Orc guy, and I kind of wish he was a 3/3 and the Bear was a 2/2, just as a little tip of the hat.
Yeah, that would have been fun. The thing I like about this card, in these free decks as well, is Taunt is really nice when you're first starting to play the game. Because what Taunt does is it forces the enemy to kill it. They can't attack you or other creatures until they kill it.
Right.
And Taunt is a really nice kind of buffer. When you're still trying to like figure things out, Taunt is really nice for just, okay, I know that they can't kill me if I play this turn. That sort of stuff. All right, what's up next?
Well, you have the aforementioned Chillwind Yeti, which is maybe the best value in the game. You get a 4/5 for 4 mana. That 5 on the back, like, it doesn't seem, it doesn't sound exciting immediately, but it's crazy how much that 5 is annoying when this guy jumps out there and you're like, oh, jeez, now I got to deal with this. How much damage? Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, it's brutal. Because, there's something about that where there's so many situations where you can get, 4 damage on it. But that 5, there's a big jump in power in just that 1 health right there.
Yeah, it's like early on I thought Booty Bay Protector was a really good card because he's, so stout on the damage and got the taunt. But the more I play with him, the more I realize he's just too easy to kill. And the 5 damage on the front isn't as big a deal.
Yeah, because they'll just send in 2/2/1s or something and take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, next one is kind of similar, actually. Sen'jin's Shield Master. This is another great card. It's got 5 on the back end for 4 mana, 3 attack. So it's slightly weaker than the Chillwind Yeti, but it has taunt. And there's not a lot before turn 3 that's played that 3 damage won't kill.
Oh, yeah. And there's not a lot that can take 3 damage that can do 5 damage at that point.
Yeah.
So he will probably stick around.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, eat up some other resource to have to finish him off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great answer. It's really good against rush decks, too. Because they're going to be hitting you early the first couple turns. But once you throw this down, it's like they got to throw 3 of their dudes into it to kill this thing. Also, Shadowshed Cleric, which we missed, is a 3 mana, 3/2. This is another kind of just good all over the place. Battlecry, give a friendly minion +1/+1. It's a great surprise. It's similar to the Power Word Shield, where it's a surprise that your opponent is making decisions assuming that you won't be able to give a +1/+1 to your troop out of nowhere.
Right.
And then when you do this, you throw all their math off, and you can usually, make an advantageous move.
Yeah, especially in the early game, it's a game of, oh, I've got a 3 health creature and he's got a 2 attack creature. I can play this safely, and all of a sudden, no, you couldn't.
Yeah.
Also, I've got a 3/2 now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrifying. Man, there's some cards that it gets really scary when it gets out of hand, when that throws down. Because if it's something that's I don't know, I'm trying to think. I don't even know. My brain, man. I'm done.
Well, I mean, and you draw him late game, and he makes your biggest, scariest creature bigger and scarier.
Yeah. Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, there's something, cards that come in and have an immediate impact are just, I love it. It's really my sort of play style. I really like it.
Absolutely.
All right, what's next? We got a cool spell, I think.
Oh, I believe you're talking about Holy Nova.
Yeah.
Holy Nova is your bread and butter priest AoE spell. I think it's one of the weaker ones, admittedly, because they want to give you the healing, but a lot of times you're getting to turn 5 against a rush deck, and you're like, I really wish I could have played this a turn earlier, like a paladin could.
Yeah.
But luckily he is doing some healing, so you can kind of do some attacking of minions tricks with your guys that you can keep alive, and then give yourself a couple health, give your guys back a couple health, and hopefully wipe away their board.
Yeah, the 5 mana is a little painful, but not all of the classes get AoE removal in their free set, so it's pretty nice to get this early on. And every now and then,
absolutely,
that restore 2 health to all friendly characters will make you love life.
Yeah,
it's just if you have something like the Northshire Cleric out up front, where every time a minion gets healed, you draw a card.
Yeah,
if you can pull off a combo with this, it's just, oh man, it feels so good.
It'll make someone rage quit.
Yeah, it will, and there will actually be a good reason for it. All right, so up next, Gurubashi Berserker. This card is really interesting, and it kind of loses value kind of later in the game. Later in the meta, once you start getting into decks that have legendaries and stuff like that,
right?
Because it's a little slow. But early on, the decks are pretty slow when you're playing with free cards against other new players, because you'll be ranked pretty low. You'll be playing against other new
or
players.
If you're trying to get your feeding in casual play.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And so what this guy is, he's a 5 mana 2/7. Oh, I love that 7 health. That is just so good. This is the sort of guy you want to drop the 1/1 on, because suddenly a 3/8, it just gets even better.
Yeah.
But then he has, whenever this minion takes damage, gain +3 attack. And the important part about this is it's not an enrage effect. because the problem with enraged cards on the priest is you want to heal them to get them back up to full health, but when you heal a creature with enrage, the enrage effect goes away because they're no longer damaged.
Yeah, you kind of soothe them. You're like, no, it's okay, buddy.
Yeah, it's okay.
Chill
And they're
out.
like, oh, okay, I'm fine. But this guy's a berserker. He just rages. You can't console him. You just heal him from afar and hope he stays alive. He's kind of like a crazy... We've all been in those pickup groups, right, where the tank is just running forward, and you're just following them, just like, oh, God,
just trying to
someone
heal
keep
them,
him
and hey, at least he's got all his buffs just stringing from this to that. So.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, he's keeping aggro. That's good. All right, go. So that's what this guy is. He is the tank that you throw on the board, and he's just going to run at everything on the enemy side, and you just have to heal him and pray he stays up.
Right. You drop him.
Because if he goes down in a pug, you're all wiping.
Exactly.
But yeah. So how can people kind of exploit this card?
Well, the most obvious thing would be to drop him turn 5, and then come back turn 6 and swing into something. And then heal him up because you're a priest and you do that kind of thing. And all of a sudden, if you're taking out something that's small, he becomes a 5/7. But he can also take down things like that 2/5 charger. He can kill that without dying.
Yeah.
And no, sorry, I completely got the math wrong on that one. I was thinking of the
4/2 charger.
Yes. Or the guy that jumps out and does 2 damage.
Oh yeah, the Iron Forge Rifleman.
Yes.
Yeah, and the reason I kind of like this is you're probably starting to see the synergy of this deck so far. I like putting minions in this deck. They all kind of add value to the hero power.
Right.
Because the thing about building decks in Hearthstone is the hero power is the only quote-unquote card that you're guaranteed to have every game, every turn. And so it makes sense to put in cards like this that if you can make that hero power more valuable and get more out of it, where, okay, Northshire Cleric's going to draw you a card, this guy's going to gain you +3 attack, all that sort of stuff, it kind of, I don't know, you're kind of lining yourself up that no matter what combo, you're probably going to draw one of these cards that makes your hero power awesome.
Right, and you've got a lot of creatures in here that have high health compared to their attack, which means they're going to get to stick around and be boosted by being able to be healed because it'll be more difficult for them to kill them in one turn.
Yeah. But what is... Oh, all right. You jump on the next one. This guy's difficult to kill.
And so, owing to that is the Boulder Fist Ogre, which is kind of in the Chillwind Yeti school of great vanilla creatures. He's a 6/7 for 6 mana. He doesn't jump out and do anything, but suddenly your opponent has to deal with the 6/7 on turn 6.
Yeah. Which, 7 health is just... There's, very few spells that can deal with that. What, you're going to throw, all your minions you've played so far?
Right.
Yeah, this guy's another just one of those great cards that is just any deck... Almost any deck, on turn 6, you're going to be happy to throw that guy on the board. There's not really a situation where you're like, oh, man, I don't want to put this guy down.
And the only case might be a rush deck, but hopefully you played a Holy Nova the turn before.
Yes, that is true. So, this guy, you will be happy. This next one against a rush deck, and that's kind of why he's here. He's a late game taunt, just to kind of give you more flexibility. He's Lord of the Arena. And this is a card I'm not really sold on in general, but it is a good card, I think, early on. Taunt is just, it feels good, and he's a great free card. He's a 6 mana, 6/5, so he has 2 less health than the Boulderfish Ogre, which is fairly significant, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but he does have Taunt, and so, like Justin was saying, if you're running into a rush deck, sometimes you just need to force the enemy to not punch you in the face, and this guy does that.
Right. He's a bit like the Booty Bay Protector, where he's got a higher attack, but he's got that 5, and that's fat enough, especially for a rush deck, to have to spend at least a couple guys on him, and that's probably what you want him doing, and he's definitely going to kill them.
Yeah.
So next up, you have one copy. This would be one of the one copy cards of Stormwind Champion. Stormwind Champion is definitely a good all-around early card for decks like this.
Yeah. So what's his stats? What's he do?
He is a 6/6 for 7, so he's going to be one of your big guys to drop down, but he makes all of your other creatures have +1/+1. So if you've kept a few guys out, which you should have because you're playing the priest deck, they're all suddenly now bigger and meaner.
Yeah. I like this guy. Yeah, he's one of the game finishers. There's a couple game finishers in this deck. Holy Nova could be a game finisher, but this guy can jump in and suddenly, if you have like 3 guys on the board, you're punching for 3 more damage instantly, and they're all harder to kill.
Yep.
This art, I gotta say, this art I just have to throw out there. It always weirded me out because it looks like he doesn't have a face. I thought it was a statue for like the first 2 months I was playing.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be a guy.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be like the mysterious champion.
Oh,
everybody,
I see.
You don't really know a lot about him, but you feel really happy when he shows up on the battlefield. He really boosts the morale because he's so awesome.
Yeah, he's not the guy that you hang out at the campfire after the battle and chit-chat with. He's in his own tent somewhere.
Right.
But he shows up and he'll fight for you, and you're just happy.
Yes.
And you feel about 1 stronger and 1 more sturdy when he's fighting alongside you.
Yeah, that's what you tell your friends. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like about 1. I hit about 1 harder, and I feel like I could take like an extra hit.
As someone cuts off your arm, like, normally that would have killed me, but I think I could go for 1 more round here. And then, like, the Stormwind champion just standing ominously nearby.
Still hanging out. It's kind of funny, too, because in reality, it's not uncommon to play that guy, and then the other opponent who's been waiting for something big to come out will pop him with an assassinating, and he immediately goes down, and everybody goes, "Aw."
Aw. Poor Stormwind. Poor Stormwind. And the last card, anyone that's been playing against Priest will be familiar with, Mind Control.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a spell, 10 mana now, it used to be 8, much better at 10. They bumped it up, and it's just simple. Take control of an enemy minion, permanently. Yeah. You just choose one of the minions, say they just played a Stormwind champion, and you're like, that ominous die is actually a traitor, and he's on my team. Boom. And then all your guys get +1/+1.
And they're all totally stoked, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, Stormwind Champion will determine who wins and loses, so you should just only play Stormwind Champion.
Right, Mind Control, it's definitely an extremely powerful card because it's destroy your opponent's best creature and get a copy of it. It's crazy board swing.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of insane about it, right? There are very few cards in the game that are essentially 2 spells, or 2 powerful spells at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those where it is kill their best minion, which, okay, you pay 6 mana for that to do that as a rogue.
Right.
And give yourself one of the best minions. Like, and obviously this is a good case scenario, but by turn 10, they're going to have something good on the board. Yeah. And if they don't, you're winning anyways.
Exactly.
So at that point, yeah. If there's nothing to mind control, that's a good problem.
There's not a lot of cards in Hearthstone that can, because Hearthstone is all about momentum, and once you get on your back, there's not too many cards you can draw that can actually put you back into it, and this is one of them often.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't really thought of it that way. Yeah. Great comeback card.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you enjoy playing this Priest deck, and I think you should give it a try, we'll have the full deck list and everything, obviously, in the show notes again. Justin and I tried to come up with some good kind of first crafting goals. Because obviously, if you enjoy the deck, you're going to be opening packs, maybe through Arena or buying some, or just getting dust that you want to craft new cards. We're going to pick like 5 cards we think that you can put into this deck to kind of build the strategy, but they're all going to be commons. So they're all going to be super cheap to craft, no legendaries, that sort of stuff.
Only
this
costs
is just
40
the first
to craft.
stepping stone. Yeah, 40 to craft, which is 40 is super easy. You can get 40 in one arena run.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, up front, Acolyte of Pain. This is one of my favorite cards in this deck. This is one of my favorite decks to play. Like I said up front, and this guy, man, so fun.
He's one of my favorite cards in the game. I think this is definitely the first thing you craft because I think he goes into a lot of other decks, even just incidentally.
Yeah, he does. So he's a 3 mana 1/3. Whenever this minion takes damage, draw a card. Again, I mean, obviously awesome with the hero power that we have, which is heal. Awesome with stuff like Power Word Shield and the Shattered Sun Cleric that are making its health big.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, oh man. The one game, you're going to do this one game, and it's going to feel amazing. When you play Northshire Cleric, then you're playing Acolyte of Pain, and then you deal damage with Acolyte of Pain and heal him, and you're just like, cards are flying in from the heavens, and it's just it's gonna cut to some like amazing 80s scene where you're just like having the time of your life. So I think you should replace the Ironford Grizzly with him. They're both 3 mana. Ironford Grizzly is an awesome solid card, but the Acolyte of Pain is just so good with this deck that I think that's the swap to do.
Absolutely, Acolyte of Pain. They're either going to burn like a big removal spell because they don't want to deal damage to it, or they're going to burn a damage removal spell and you're going to replace it, or any number of great things are going to happen with that card.
Yeah, there's so much potential there. All right, I'll just take all these, Justin, because I think I wrote these, and then you're leading the way on Druid. Up next is Lightspawn. This is a 4 mana 0/5, but hear me out. Don't throw this card in the gutter just yet. This minion's attack is always equal to its health. So as its health changes, its attack changes as well. And obviously, I mean, for the exact same reasons as the Acolyte of Pain. I mean, the Shattered Sun Cleric, the Power Word Shield, suddenly you turn it into a 7/7 with a 1 mana card. It is very susceptible to being silenced, so fair warning there.
Right.
But it's a great card, and I think it can replace the Sen'jin Shieldmaster.
Yeah, that seems like a good replacement. It fits the motif of the deck so well.
Yeah, and I think on average, on an average game, the Sen'jin Shieldmaster might be a little more valuable, but the Lightspawn just has so much potential, for amazingness. Yeah. So, all right. Last one, and this one actually makes those 2 previous cards even better. The Temple Enforcer. This is a 6 mana 6/6, big beefy dude. Battlecry, give a friendly minion +3 health. So right there, it's going to buff up Acolyte of Pain, Lightspawn, Northshire Cleric. I mean, all those things. I mean, even Gurubashi Berserker, suddenly it's a 2/10 that's gaining 3 attack every time it deals damage to something. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's another card where they're just kind of hitting you over the head, like, play this in your priest deck.
Yeah.
He does everything you want with the priest deck, and then he's a big body for your late game.
Yeah, he's a pretty impressive big body too. There's not a ton of big bodies that are specific to classes.
That's true.
But this is a priest only minion that's just a great card. And bam, here we go. We're gonna tie it all together with these last 2 cards. Because you remember how we're buffing everyone's health, healing? It wasn't just so you could keep them alive. It's also so you could kill your opponent in 1 turn.
Da-da-da.
Dun, dun, dun. The big plot twist. With Inner Fire. This is a 1 mana spell. Change a minion's attack to be equal to its health. So first of all, you can use that on the enemy if you're desperate. But there's so many good plays where, say you have 10 mana. You're going to throw down Temple Enforcer to give something, let's say give your Northshire Cleric. Say worst case scenario, Northshire Cleric, a 1/3. You're going to throw down your Temple Enforcer, give it +3, so it's a 1/6. And then you're going to throw down Divine Spirit, which is the spell you're also going to add into your deck, but only after you have Inner Fire. And what Divine Spirit does is it doubles a minion's health for 2 mana. So you're going to double that 1/6, so it's now a 1/12. And then that's 8 mana, so you have 2 mana left. You're going to spend 1 mana on Inner Fire, and you're going to turn it into a 12/12, and then you're going to punch them in the face.
With a ridiculously huge, totally pissed off priestess.
Yeah. It's so good. It's such a good... So this Inner Fire Divine Spirit combo where you double health, and then change their attack to be equal to their health is a great 1-turn kill. And the thing that the last patch did, was removed a lot of these 1-turn kill combos from the game. Like, they removed the Hunter, the Rogue, the Mage. They've been nerfing that pretty heavily because they don't want people winning in 1 turn.
Yeah.
But this is one that's still in there that is still super solid.
Right. Plus, you get the added bonus of imagining that the priestess is doing something akin to the elf lady in the Lord of the Rings movie whenever she comes after the ring and has that moment of weakness.
Yeah. Where she's freaking out, maybe starts floating, and...
I would be a queen!
Feel free to shout that. We need an emote for that. Just right-click, I would be a queen for these situations. Yeah, so that's kind of the dream move, right? And so once you have all these decks, or all these cards in your deck, the strategy for this deck becomes pretty straightforward. You're trying to gain card advantage early with Northshire Cleric, Power Word Shield, and the Acolyte of Pain.
Yeah.
Between those,
and big health creatures.
And big health creatures, yeah. All that combined, you're gaining card advantage. And that usually by the time you're hitting turn 8, turn 9, you will have no problem accumulating a Divine Spirit and an Inner Fire, at least one of each by then.
Right.
Where you can pull out this combo and just cackle like a maniac as they weep tears of sadness. It's glorious.
It is great as they get beat down by the nice little Healy priest deck.
Yeah, the nice Healy priest, the cleric that has gone just completely
supernova.
AWOL. Yeah, supernova. I like that. All right, so that's the priest deck. I think it's pretty fun. You should try it out. Let us know what you think. If you have suggestions for how to change it, let us know too in the comments. GameDiplomat.com. Justin led the charge on this Druid deck, so I'm going to let you just take over, Justin. Tell me what to do with the Druid deck.
Yeah, I played that Druid of the Wild, and I chose Charge instead of the 4/6 Taunter.
Every now and then, that's a good play. Every now and then.
Yes, it is. It's one of the things I like about Druid, like I mentioned in Arena, is being able to, when you get late game, if you want to make the guy a charger. Now, he's not a free card, so you won't have him right off the bat with this deck. But the general idea with the Druid deck is to kind of get a foothold early and stick around, a lot like the Priest deck, and then late game just kind of overwhelm them as much as possible, either through, mostly through card advantage.
Yeah.
It has a lot of tricks to kind of keep you around, including a nice little combo that might wipe their board.
Oh, yes.
So the first card is a 1-mana card, Claw, and it's your basic 1-mana removal spell. It gives your character +2 until end of turn. And so you can play that first turn, kill off maybe their juggler that they just played out, or you can save it later and kind of combo it up with your hero power and do 3 damage on 1 turn if you need to.
Yeah.
And it's also not terrible to draw late game because 2 health isn't the worst thing you can get for 1 mana.
Yeah. I mean, even worst case scenario, you're punching them in the face, and that's still a 4 health swing, which isn't. I mean, it's not insignificant.
Right.
Late game. Yeah. Next up, Novice Engineer. Obviously, once again, it's a great card. Throw it in there.
Helps you get card advantage.
Yep.
Then you've got the Acidic Ooze. This kind of joins in with the 2-mana drops. It's probably my favorite 3/2 just basic body in the game, next to another Druid spell that is not free. But because he jumps out and he's either a 3/2 early when you need him, or he destroys a weapon, which can be really powerful against certain horrible weapons, which can really ruin your day.
Yeah. And I like this card a lot too. It's one of those cards that it doesn't get played a whole lot at higher level, so I forget about it. And then it comes out and it destroys my weapon that I just threw deadly poison on, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
It's the kind of card that, like you say, because it kind of falls out of favor, if the metagame in the tournament scene starts turning towards weapons, it's the kind of card that's going to suddenly start showing up in people's decks again.
Oh, yeah. Just because, it's a great way, and there's not a lot of ways to remove an opponent's weapon. There's like another legendary that does it, and that's about it.
Yeah, you definitely get a deer in headlights feeling when a weapon gets attached to somebody, especially when it's one of the big ugly ones.
Yeah, and plus you can just picture that it's the Hearthstone logic video. This is the dude dropping down, defeating Arthas and Forgery.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Cobalt Geomancer. This is a card that is awesome in some decks and terrible in other decks, right? Because you're paying 2 mana, and instead of a 3/2, you're getting a 2/2. So right off the bat, you're like, oh man, this is trouble. But it has spell damage 1.
Right.
Which increases the damage that spells do by 1, obviously. So if you have a good combo, which I think you do in this deck, Justin, I imagine you would not put this here if there was not a good combo.
Right. Yeah, I was trying to dig up good 2-drops, and I realized that this you have another card that's coming up, and we'll just go ahead and talk about it, called Swipe, which is 4 mana. And Swipe is an interesting AoE